Hi, I'm David Penn, Research Analyst with Finovate. Thank you for joining us for our conversation on fintech and innovation in payments. Joining us today is Nick Kerigan. He's Head of Innovation Excellence Execution at Swift. Thank you, Nick, for joining us today.
Great, lovely to join you.
Great. Well, we're going to talk just a couple of things about what Swift has been doing, particularly in payments and innovation today. One of the things that I wanted to start off with was a new strategy that Swift has embarked upon. And I'm curious in particular, what are the key benefits of this new strategy, if you could outline it for us, as it relates to the payments industry in particular?
Yeah, happy to do so. So, Swift is on an exciting journey at the moment, together with the financial community. We've seen cross-border payments being transformed in recent years from the traditional correspondent banking model through to the creation of Swift GPI, which has considerably sped up what you can do in cross-border payments, and also the certainty and an ability of that to track where the payment is at any one point in time. So we're on a journey there. But when we were formed as a consortium 40 years ago, our core tenets were interoperability, security, and standardization. And the common goal was to create a secure, frictionless environment, allowing all banks to transact with each other, eliminating delays. And that was accomplished through a secure network. And, it solved one of the biggest problems in payments at the time, which was how do you move money cross-border? So our core mission has not changed, security, standardization, but we're moving now from a world of point-to-point messaging to actually end-to-end transaction orchestration, which sits on a foundation of rich data. And what does that mean for our community, and then what does that strategy mean for payments and the payments industry? Well, I think it means a few things. I mean, the first thing is, in payments itself, we believe we can unlock huge opportunities that help our community strengthen them in existing market segments like core B2B cross-border payments. And we also think we can open up bold new opportunities for the future around SME and consumer segments. So what we're essentially trying to do is to create instant and frictionless account-to-account transactions anywhere in the world. And so the vision there is to make international payments as simple and easy as domestic payments. Obviously, that's a big goal and it won't be accomplished overnight. But we do think, particularly with our new transaction management platform, that it's fully achievable. And so that platform will evolve even more in the next few years, going on way beyond today's capabilities. It's based on state-of-the-art technology, end-to-end transaction management, I said, and in particular, rich data. And the rich data, with the adoption of ISO 20022, will unlock itself new mutualized services and also the ability for the community to innovate on us and with us using those data services.
Very, very interesting. I always say that it's when I get to talk with companies, there are two types of companies that are particularly interesting: those you don't know anything about, and those you think you know something about. And I think some of the things that you talk about with Swift, I think, have got some eyebrows raised for those who are learning more about a company that they thought that they knew, particularly as it relates to some of these evolutions. It definitely reminds me that the idea of innovation, in many respects, is keeping up with the expectations of customers. I mean, you talk about the challenge of having international payments meeting demand. It's almost a necessity. People are going to have a certain expectation what they're getting in their domestic payments. And because someone else tells them that international payments are different, they don't really care about that.
Right.
They want it the same way.
It's a great point, and you're absolutely spot on. Us as people and businesses are just collections of groups of people working together, right? We absorb all the expectations from our environments, and so spot on to say if a domestic payment is that easy and simple, then an international payment should be the same. And we're bringing that capability to the market. So, for example, I'm based in the UK, and the UK domestic payment system now enables you to validate who you're paying. So it's called confirmation of payee in the UK. Swift is now bringing that type of service into the international payments arena through a service that we call pre-validation. So it will actually validate the account details and that it's a valid account of who you're sending it to. And so you can see, therefore, we're making international payment services to mirror the great services that you get in domestic real-time payments.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more in that direction in terms of the innovation agenda for Swift going forward into 2021. What are some of the focuses? I mean, obviously you mentioned them a moment ago, but what are some of the more specific product related focuses that Swift's going to be looking to this year?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the first thing to say is, like, innovation's not new to Swift. We were created to solve a big industry challenge 40 years ago, and we're still, that's at our heart. And we do innovation in a highly collaborative way, and a way that's actually purpose led, right? We're seeking to solve challenges. It's not like, we're trying to make Swift look good, although of course that would be great. And it's not like that we're playing with new technologies, although we do obviously explore new technologies, but we do it with a purpose to solve challenges. And last year, then, we set a new course for our innovation agenda, which was really focusing on some of those, big challenges that we see people in the payments community facing. And so that's guiding our agenda for this year as well. So a few kind of things that are high on our mind. One is cloud and simplifying the journey to cloud. All large financial institutions and smaller ones as well, have important programs around bringing their services into the cloud. Everyone knows the benefits of doing that, and they also know that can be quite a challenging task. And so what we're doing is we're aiming to ease that journey for our customers. So we've launched new cloud-based products, and we're also making our existing products cloud ready, so that when our customers are ready to migrate and move, we are already ready for them. The other, another big thing that we're working on is around real-time API services. We've really expanded our API activities and presence in recent years. We have a very active API program. We have a platform which took 2 billion API calls last year. And we're also building out our SDKs and developer portal around that. So it's a very important agenda for us in terms of making our services, much more accessible to the community. And then the third thing that's really on our agenda for this year is machine learning and artificial intelligence. That's often used as a buzzword in this industry, right? But we don't take it at that 20,000 feet level. We think of it in a really much more grounded way, which is actually, how do you transform analytics from being backward looking to being predictive? And we think that's the power of machine learning and AI, and that's the power we're seeking to bring to the data we have, and the unique position that Swift sits in, connecting all of that financial community together.
Absolutely. And I want to talk a little bit more about connectivity and the APIs and circle back to that conversation in just a minute. I think you talk about enabling technologies. APIs definitely have to sit near the top of that list. But you also talked a great deal about innovation being at the heart of Swift, about the company being founded to solve problems. And I think of the changing nature of innovation and how that involves less the lonely man or woman in the lab and more teams working together and collaborating. I know that Swift has published a white paper on that really is making the case. Innovate with Swift, I think, is even called, for what they called collaborative innovation. And I wonder if maybe we could talk not just about how Swift plans to implement that, but what do you mean by collaborative innovation? Why is that the path you think is most productive to take?
Yeah, I mean, we published that with a purpose and a kind of call to action, because we believe it's really important for the industry to get its head around. In the paper, we talk about an innovation challenge, and what we mean by that innovation challenge is that while organizations clearly know the imperatives for innovation, right? Increased customer expectations, heightened competition, technology transformation. So there's lots of whys around innovation. We also see that organizations in the financial community are often find it challenging to balance that imperative with all the other things that they have to do on their agenda, which are often driven by forces such as regulation and others that mean that they are must-dos. And so what we are saying is, with the collaborative innovation, is we're saying one way of unlocking that challenge is to work much more together as a community. And so the burden isn't then on any one bank or institution, but the burden is more shared. And indeed, I think it's also kind of true to say that if you look at sort of innovation literature, I'm a fan of the kind of book Eat, Sleep, Innovate. Collaboration is identified as one of the key behaviors for successful in innovation. So we're big believers in that, and we think that Swift is well placed to help the industry collaborate because we are a neutral member-owned organization that sits in the middle of this great financial community. So we think that by enhancing collaborative innovation and by working together, that we can maybe unlock some of these problems that individually it's struggled to solve.
Truly, it really makes me think that if previously innovation was defined by the degree of disruption, increasingly it will be defined by the degree of collaboration. We see it in so many, the COVID fight, we see it in so many different areas. It's really something to look forward to. We don't have a lot of time, but I did want to circle back to the conversation about APIs because they are such an enabling force, and the capacity, the idea of them in the hands of Swift really does make some potentially interesting things. Could maybe you elaborate a little bit more on the role of APIs in what Swift is trying to do?
Absolutely. So I think that for us, we see APIs as all about opening up access to services, and that those services can be Swift services. Those services also could be in the future partner services as well. And we also see the role here in Swift of making APIs themselves more accessible. So that's why we've created this the developer portal, the SDKs, all of the important surrounds that you actually may need to make use of the APIs. Going forward, we'll absolutely be adding to that kind of that list and making a lot more services available. And we're also looking at how we can increase the level of standardization of APIs in the financial services community, because we also know that with the diversity of APIs that exist today, sometimes integration can be long and complex when you want to add a new service. And so, on our mind is actually how can we continue to play the standardization role that we've played in other areas, possibly in the API arena as well. The last thing I wanted to say, just maybe picking up that collaboration point, if I may, we're also, I think, and it goes alongside the API kind of debate, is opening up ways in which people can actually collaborate and working with us. So, for example, last year we organized the largest ever hackathon at Cybos, 60 developers from 25 organizations in 18 countries. And we're currently running a hackathon together with the Bank of International Settlements, looking at potential of data in payments. So that's one way of kind of collaboration, and those hackathons make use of our APIs and our data sets as well. We're also kind of looking at how we can open up more innovation kind of sandboxes and collaborative platforms. So we've recently joined Tech Quartier, for example, which is a well-known organization in Germany, which provides a fintech collaboration platform. So we're looking for those opportunities, and I guess therefore Innovate with Swift as a message is real for us. Obviously, people can read our paper. They can also visit us at swift.com/innovate, where we have our innovation hub, or they can actually reach out to us directly in the innovation team at Swift by emailing innovate@swift.com. So there's lots of routes into us and getting in contact with us, and we're keen to invite anyone that's passionate about transforming global financial transactions to join us on the journey.
Oh, that's great to hear. And again, I really do think that we might be seeing a turning of the tide in favor of collaboration as the path to innovation. It's fantastic to see companies like Swift, with their pedigree and their legacy, sort of being out at the forefront of that and inviting others to come along. So fantastic to hear, and fantastic from you for sharing that with us, Nick. Thank you very much for joining us. Nick Kerigan, Head of Innovation Execution with Swift. Thank you very much.
Thank you.